Hello, welcome to another episode of Facebook Live here on Wednesday. We're so excited to be here, and we are out in our lobby and really pumped that we have our awesome Christmas tree that's live and starting to get ready for the season. And Amy and Lauren did such a great job in getting everything going, and so we just thought it would be fun to be out here. And also to let people know when they come back, we are totally going to stream popcorn and put it around this Christmas tree like the Peanuts Christmas. It's going to be like so super fun. So you can eat the popcorn or you can put it on whichever one you want. So events of the last week that are new would be, the reason I'm sitting in front of this giant map is we're doing simple steps. And simple steps are just where you can walk with us across the United States and we'll just keep going. And so the first time we're doing it, is that we are starting with the red, and we'll update each week in our emails about how far we've gone. Now, around the holiday season, the average individual may gain anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds, and we just think it's inevitable. But if you walk 10,000 steps a day, that's 5 miles, about 500 calories, and it can really help you maintain, and it's such a simple little thing. So, yep, we have all these parties and awesomeness, but it doesn't mean that you can't still be well and take care of yourself. And we are super pumped to walk across with each other and motivate each other to stay active and go to all these places and just pretend like we went. And I think that's super fun. So know that you can be partnered with us for that as well. Tonight we're also super excited because we have our secret party, and we are talking about our secret RF device, and that helps all different skin types with multiple different conditions, and you can use it all over the body. And so we have a grand prize tonight, which we're super excited about. So as you watch this or any of our other Facebook Lives, please share this with friends if you don't mind, because we're trying to top 2,000 viewers before the end of the year, so we're pumped about that. And I brought all of these things for show and tell. So this is just the handpiece for the secret RF that we do for the body. And so one of the questions people have asked is all the different areas that you can use it on. So you definitely can use it across any part of the body, including your abdomen, to help with stretch marks. I'm using it on my legs, one leg, not the other, to kind of help show how my skin will kind of pull up on one side, but not the other, because that's a common place that I think people get irritated by. So just know that our party is tonight, and then also until the end of the year, you can get 15% off signing up for a package, and we've been really excited about the results that we had. So specifically today, what we're going to talk about is the association of gastrointestinal health and your skin, because a lot of people wouldn't think that those two things are related, but every part of your body is related. And so again, I brought some props up for this, so I might kind of pull them up to review them. So when you think about your skin is the biggest organ of your body. It's an excretory organ where it sweats goo out and gets rid of things. And it's a barrier to the outside world. Now, your gastrointestinal tract is on the inside, obviously, and so if your gastrointestinal tract is unhealthy and your body doesn't know what to do with it, it will try to rid itself of it, and oftentimes it tries to rid itself through the skin. So think about if you were the body, and your job is to carry somebody from the day they were born till the day they die. And that's just your job, and you're really passionate about doing a good job. You're always motivated to help that person within have a better day, because that's what you're supposed to do. So it makes complete sense that if your skin is an excretory organ and your body is flooded with things coming in that it doesn't know what to do with, it's going to flush it out wherever it can, and that includes your skin. So I hear so much about be gluten-free, dairy-free, don't eat this, don't eat that, and it gets confusing and overwhelming. So instead of just wondering or guessing what your body is allergic to or sensitive to, why don't you ask it? I find a lot of people are nervous at times to ask about food sensitivities and food allergies, either number one, because they don't believe in it necessarily. I would just tell folks that I've been doing this for a long time, and your gastrointestinal tract feeling good helps your whole body feel good. I totally believe in that, and I believe in that because I see it every day. Number two, a lot of times when we get stressed out, we look to food to de-stress ourselves. So if folks come in and they don't feel good, and I'm telling them, you can't eat this or that, it makes them feel more stressed. And so the idea of more stress is very unappealing to the human body, so people oftentimes don't necessarily pursue the information. But I always tell them that we're here to try and give you energy and change and help you get better. So I would never tell you something and not try to help you overcome that. So certainly don't fear that we're trying to hurt you and trying to help you. We're always trying to help you. So when you hear about gluten-free, dairy-free, you can either just not eat those foods or you could ask your body. And there's a different thing between food sensitivities and food allergies. So I brought some example reports of Vibrant, so it could just show how easy this is. So Vibrant is a functional medicine lab that we do partner with and use. We run a lot of our labs through, and they happen to be having a special to the end of the year that makes this not only awesome, but yet cost effective even more. So it almost makes people, we've had so many people this week sign up to get food allergies and food sensitivities because people just want to know. So when you look at the report of food allergies, it's either green, yellow, or red. Don't eat the red, don't eat the yellow, and green, you're good. It's that easy, and it's 96 different foods. So it's super comprehensive. And then you have food sensitivities. And I'll kind of review the difference here in a second, but this is like a master report of the food sensitivities. It's so easy. It's like, really don't eat this, watch out for this, you're fine with this. And then it shows you in all these bar graphs. That's so easy to read. I'm like, that's a big bar, maybe I shouldn't eat that. It's so easy. So these things are very unintimidating and straightforward, which is so nice. And so Vibrant things for the labs include that you can get food allergies and sensitivities together. You also can get some connective tissue panel and thyroid panel. They also have heavy metal add-on that you can do as well. So those are things, frequent concerns that people have. And so it's just fun to know that that's out there. Now, if we're going to describe your gastrointestinal health a little bit here, I made a prop, and I always try to make things, and I love sticky notes. So some people have a hard time understanding the difference between IgG and IgE and IgA, because again, food sensitivities and food allergies are different things. So what I did here is I try to represent that this is the top of your gastrointestinal tract. It's like the roof. It's supposed to be a roof. I drew it on an envelope. And then you have the brush border, and the brush border is kind of like the very top of things. So our body needs an intact roof and the brush border to protect the underneath part from reacting to the outside part. So, but if our roof gets injured because of an infection or we get stressed out, then the roof gets blown off. Ooh, there we go. And then 80% of your fight or infection cells are actually contained in your gastrointestinal tract. And so that means that this food that normally is not supposed to get in our body is now exposed to our body. And so when you look at the different antibodies in your GI tract, you have IgG and IgA and IgE. So I made the IgE look red because that's what makes us break out in rashes. It makes our throat swell, but they're neighbors to everything else. So your body can actually have IgE reaction, but not IgG and IgA. It can also have IgG and IgA reactions without IgE. So no matter what, your body reacts if an antibody looks at it as a food is a bad thing. So these reactions, which are more the red, make you break out in a rash and your throat gets sore and sometimes our hair falls out. These just make us feel more bloated and they get worse as the day goes on. So if someone comes in and says, my throat is sore and after I eat or I break out in a rash, then I know that this most likely is a reaction that they're having. But if even you remove those and people still have food sensitivities, they still feel bloated all day long and they don't feel their best sense of self. So being the gal that loves to help people feel the best they can feel, I love all the information, because if you get all the information, you can help people the best. But if nothing else, at least you can start somewhere. So the other thing to know too is that your gut has a basement membrane underneath, another envelope. So you have the roof, you have 80% of your fighter infection cells, and then you have this hard stop, or I kind of think of it like a concrete slab of a house. Now, the longer your body is reacting to the foods that it takes in, then it starts getting puffy and mad, and then you start making little holes in the basement membrane, and so literally it like oozes through into your bloodstream. So when it oozes through to your bloodstream, our fingers start hurting, we start feeling puffy, and again, our hair can fall out, sometimes our nose gets stuffed up, and we can't remember and concentrate because your gut and your brain come from the same embryological layer. Meaning when we're forming inside our moms, we've got 3 different layers that all of our all of our parts of our body come from. And so if things come from the same layer and one is upset, then its sister kind of organ in a way gets upset too. So if your gut has holes because you're eating food that's bad for you, your brain kind of gets holes too, and you start not being able to remember and concentrate, you get headaches all the time, and people are tired. So it makes sense that if your gut is not happy, your brain is not happy, and if your body's like, what do I do with this stuff? Because this person keeps eating it, your skin tries to ooze it from you. So your skin and your gut are actually really linked. And so if I simply have a horrible rash and I take a steroid cream all the time, that's awesome, but I'm never treating the big problem. I'm still tired, my stomach's still puffy, I still can't remember and concentrate, and I can't figure out how to get the rash to go away without that cream. When really, if you just stop eating the food that makes your body mad, the rash goes away, and your joints stop hurting, and it's awesome. So life seems hard in so many other ways, but your body is actually super easy. So hopefully that described that pretty well. Okay.
We had a question come through, Sam.
Yes.
A gal who was interested about stress and food sensitivities / food allergies.
Yes.
If you could elaborate a little bit more on that.
Okay. So the other thing too is that your gastrointestinal tract is one of the most rapidly dividing cells in your body. So if my body gets stressed, it kind of pushes against itself, if you will. And so our gut, when we get stressed, our roof gets blown off. And so your gut just becomes more puffy and irritated and not acute stress that comes and goes. We're talking about like the stress that comes because of loss of loved ones, or fear about like a change of job, or these chronic, like getting married, all these different types of things that chronically go on can cause your gut to get disrupted, because cortisol, as it goes up and stays up, your rapidly dividing cells get altered, if you will, and they are the ones that get injured the most sometimes, and so it can cause GI issues. So when you have the stress, it's just fun to know there's things you can do about the stress. And so when you look about some of the stuff that we carry, I'm just explaining, I'm going to sit down because my legs go numb if I sit too long like this. Hopefully I don't knock the map over behind me. So this is one of the products that we have to help people with skin. And isn't it so funny that it uses bovine collagen as part of the collagen in here? And the reason they use bovine collagen is it's one of the most bioavailable collagens, and because they know that a lot of people with skin issues also have gastrointestinal issues. So what they're actually trying to do is help your gut at the same time as helping your skin, because they know if they help your gut and your skin feels better, then you feel like, oh, this stuff's awesome. And it is awesome. Really, if you just know about your GI tract too, that's why it's so awesome. It's because it's being mindful about both organ systems. And it also has glutamine powder in it, because glutamine powder is like Neosporin for the gastrointestinal tract, and it helps it heal. So just know that a lot of the different products are actually mindful of this concept that we're talking about. And so it actually works. And then the other thing too, I'm going back to the Inflammacore. I can never say anything bad about the Inflammacore because it just is awesome. So this is every gastrointestinal supplement known to man in a protein powder. So you actually get a meal replacement with a lot of the things that help your GI tract heal, with glutamine powder, medium chain triglycerides, quercetin, all that great stuff. And so by helping your GI tract with this, you also can notice a lot of changes in your hair and your skin too, simply because your body is like, hey, when you take this helps this happen, so your roof gets back on your house of your gastrointestinal tract. And then if this happens, then your little antibodies stop seeing all the food go through, and your gut stops being all puffed up, and we all just have a better day, and then we can think. So it's so super fun about how that stuff works. So any other questions, Lauren? Nope.
There was a question about The Secret, and
Yes.
if we have a question about skincare so how might The Secret help with some of the common skin concerns like acne scars? I mean, is everybody a candidate for The Secret, just kind of age group wise? I mean, who can benefit most? Yeah.
So the question that came in has to do with who's a good candidate for The Secret, and what type of skin conditions does The Secret help with. So I always love the props. I was thinking about that right now. But anyway, the Secret is actually approved for all different skin types and all different skin conditions. And so it's pretty remarkable in that, because a lot of the different machines that we have are limited to certain skin types, and they exclude certain conditions. And so I think all age groups can use this for all different reasons, because really when you think about your skin, again, it's a barrier to the outside world, but it can regenerate itself. So collagen is what gives it a lot of the strength. And as we age, that collagen just gets it just degenerates a little bit. But it's not that if you don't stimulate in the right way, it can't regenerate itself. Just like we can regenerate blood vessels, help prevent scar tissue, etc. Your skin, if you stimulate it, will get thicker again just by healing, which is so cool. So so it kind of appeals to the human in all of us. The human in all of us makes us all the same. So we're all the same in that we have skin, and then with skin we have collagen. And if you stimulate collagen the right way, then you can make acne scars go away. You can make fine lines and wrinkles go away. You can help just make the skin look thicker. You can also help with aging. And you don't run the risk of like hyperpigmentation and a lot of the other side effects that are limiting to some people.
We had another question that came through, Sam. Does the Secret help with rosacea, and how does eating affect flare-ups with that?
So the fun part about a lot of the stuff we're talking about too, and I'm sorry I get so long-winded, but I just feel like I have to give as complete explanation as I can, is that when you think about rosacea, a lot of times, again, people focus more on the skin, but it's so fun that a lot of people have focused on gastrointestinal health and the skin at the same time. So how I'm going to talk is about my clinical experience and what I see with what we do, although I don't think there's like this really huge trial that's out there that can answer this question the best. So what I would say is I do believe that anytime people have a concern of the skin and they use like a good skin product, practice good gastrointestinal health, and use this, you can make differences, including rosacea. And so I've seen people with rosacea they also have gastrointestinal issues. And so when I've treated the gastrointestinal issues, their skin gets better. I've had people come in with psoriasis that say when I give them Flagyl for their gastrointestinal issues, their skin gets better. So they want Flagyl for their skin, but it really makes their stomach less bloated. So in my mind, I'm always thinking, oh my gosh, their skin is trying to excrete this from that. But I don't have this huge trial, and I'm not trying to repeat myself over and over again. I just don't think we've linked them all together 100% yet, but I do think there's an association between it all. And we have tools, but with the tools, what I try to do is listen to people, and then we start somewhere. And if we start somewhere and we're not getting a response, then we'll just go to the next thing. Because most of the time, by the time that I see people, a lot of times they've tried 20 other things, and people just tell them there's nothing else you can do. But I'm like, oh, the human body's so cool. There's always got to be something that we can do. And oftentimes we find an answer just by trial and error of all the different things we do.
Another question that came through is if you have something that comes up on your food sensitivities or food allergies, does that mean you have to eliminate them for the rest of your life?
So that is a great question, and I do get that a lot. So I would say with IgE, and you have to think different, I think, about kids and adults. And so I'm just going to put kids, even though anyone under 18, I'm not, but I'm calling just, they have a different body than 18 and older. So IgE antibody. My answer to that, I will say, like if you get a cold, you can never get the same cold again because your body makes antibodies to prevent you from getting sick. Just like if you get chickenpox, you're not supposed to get the chickenpox again because you mount an immune reaction. So if your body is built to protect you from the day you're created until the day you die, our immune system is supposed to see things, remember it, and then it kind of sits like this. But each time it's presented with it, it's better at making it go away because it wants to protect you from having recurrent infections. Now, if that thing that's coming at me has a mutation in the DNA that's different than what I remember, then I have to make another immune reaction again. So the immune system is supposed to remember, it's never supposed to forget. So IgE antibodies specifically, I really don't see those going away at this point in time because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that your body would forget something it's supposed to remember to keep you alive. So whenever I see a food allergen in an adult, I've never seen that go away. Now you could be more tolerant to it. And so when people are allergic to beef and they eat beef every day, then they'll feel bloated and have diarrhea. And then I'll tell them they're allergic to beef and they quit taking it and they feel great. But then when they eat beef again, they'll have this huge reaction because their body's like, I'm not tolerant that you're here every day. And when they're tolerant, it never means they're not reacting, but they don't have as robust a reaction until it's reintroduced later, but that is never gonna go away. Now, IgG and IgA antibodies do kind of come and go. So a lot of times what I'll tell folks is that for sensitivities, eliminate everything you see. Eliminate the IgE, eliminate the IgG, eliminate the IgA. And then your body isn't constantly being broken down by that, but also do something like some digestive enzymes and your little GI powder here for a while. Get your roof put back on, and then ask your body, after you put, you can go through school. After you do the, after you get the roof put back on, then maybe in 3 to 6 months, you can retest your food sensitivities. And with food sensitivities, usually you'll find that they have actually gone away. So some of them may actually still remain, but most of them can resolve. So IgE, I think, comes and stays at this point in time. IgG and IgA kind of ebb and flow throughout life. So sometimes people come in the list of what they need to change is pretty extensive, but I'll tell them just start somewhere, right? Avoid the big things. Start somewhere. Start doing this. And then after 3 months, we'll kind of relook at things and reintroduce things, because if all of a sudden you feel like you can't eat anything, that's just crazy. So we just try to be reasonable.
That's one. We have another question, Sam.
Okay.
What are the 3 most important things to think about for a healthy GI tract?
Okay, so in the big scope of life, I say, number 1, just remember we all evolved in a cave over hundreds of thousands of years. And I know I say this over and over and over again, but it's really imperative with every principle that we talk to people about. So in the cave, I ate whole foods, I pulled stuff from the ground, I pulled stuff off of trees, but I didn't have a bakery. So the more I eat that way, the more my body evolved to understand that is good. The more I take things and I break them apart and package them up and mix them up in a whole bunch of ways, my body can sometimes look at that like, what the heck is this? I've never seen this before. And so it can start to look at those much more as allergens than it looks at the food that it evolved knowing is a good day. So to make a long story short, number 1 thing is try to eat more whole foods and limit processed foods, because processed foods sometimes our body gets confused by. The second thing is I would try to, you could always take a probiotic too. Now, I might get a little long-winded with my explanation of this, but probiotics help your large intestine. They don't help your small intestine, and they don't help your stomach. So a probiotic is never gonna help you with food allergens. And if you take a proton pump inhibitor, that's another, I would say that would be number 2, proton pump inhibitors. Be mindful of that, because your body is built to have stomach acid. Stomach acid is your blender, and stomach acid is supposed to break it down. Well, if you don't break down the food, you can't absorb the micronutrients, and that further makes your stomach mad. Now, I'm not saying stop your PPI out because you get like horrible heartburn, but I am going to tell you that maybe you should also take some digestive enzymes. And a lot of times heartburn is your body talking to you because you're stressed or you're eating a food allergen. Stop eating the allergen, your heartburn goes away, and then you can digest your food again, and that's awesome. If you take every animal in this whole world, it seems like, do pigs have stomach acid? Yes. Do cows have stomach acid? Yes. So if stomach acid is bad, then why does everybody have it? So that being said, I just think that there's a reason a lot of times we have heartburn, and so if you figure out the reason, your heartburn oftentimes goes away because your body doesn't want to hurt you. It just wants to let you know you need to check on something. So that would be the second thing, which would be just be mindful if you're on a proton pump inhibitor, if you're having a heartburn, look for the reason. And then if you're on a proton pump inhibitor, that was crazy, but proton pump inhibitor, just be sure you're taking some digestive enzymes too, because a big banana, all whole, going in your gastrointestinal system is so much different than a mushed up banana going into your gastrointestinal system. And the other thing I would totally love at a minimum is if people took like glutamine powder, or, you know, I'll take this virtually every day, because I know, like with stress and my body's under attack from all this different stuff, if I can just help itself, I get sick so much less. So, but if I took one thing out of this that I would do, It may even be just glutamine powder, like 4 grams a day, because that's Neosporin for the gastrointestinal tract and works really, really good. So be mindful of proton pump inhibitors, and if you have heartburn, ask your body why. Glutamine powder, probiotic, and digestive enzymes.
And I think we have time for just one more.
Okay.
One more question that panned across. Is there a common food allergen, or maybe the question is, what's the most common that you see, or what's
this is so fun because I see these things that I would never know it's just most common food allergens and sensitivities. Okay, if I'm looking on the vegetable one, I don't really see that many vegetable ones too terribly much, but when I look at fruit, pineapple is very high in the allergies. Like, I never even knew that. That's really cool. Mustard seed, like I didn't know that mustard caused people to have so many problems. Yeast, I'll see a fair amount of yeast. Then if I look at like meats, sometimes with meats, if people have been bitten by ticks, you'll see they're allergic to like pork and beef and a lot of these other things, and they actually also react to like wool in their clothing, so they have to modify what clothing they're on so their skin doesn't break out as much. I do see a fair amount of wheat. I do see a fair amount of milk. Let me see, I'm scanning through all the different ones that I see. Oh, and soy. Oh. All I have to say too is so many times I hear that people take soy as opposed to estrogen to help their hot flashes, but dear gosh goodness, let me tell you how many people react to it from their gastrointestinal tract. So just be mindful of what food, just be mindful that sometimes you're trying to help one thing, but soy actually is really highly allergic to the gastrointestinal tract. And then with food sensitivities, it's crazy. The thing too with sensitivities that you have to be mindful of is that your body will do its job. So if I'm stressed out and I eat the same thing over and over and over again, then my stress blows off my roof. And every time I'm eating that same food over and over and over again, I'm telling my body, here you go, here you go, here you go. So at some point in time, my body's going to start reacting to the foods I eat all the time because my protective barrier that keeps my body protected is gone. So a lot of times I'll see when people are stressed out and they come in and they're still under that stress, their food sensitivities are so many of the foods that they eat, but it's not because of the food, it's because of their stress. So if you help their stress, then they can go back to eating those foods long term in the future. Okay, so that's all our questions. Hopefully that was super informative. If you have any questions too between now and then, you can always, kind of let us know and we can address those next time. We're excited again tonight and invite everybody to our secret event. And don't forget to share all of our videos with folks that if you don't mind, because we just want people to know that it's okay to feel good and everyone can get better. And like our page, yeah, like our Facebook page, because that's where we're trying to get the 2,000 people to. Every day is a new day for me. I'm trying to get better and better. And don't forget, if you would love a little accountability and a team to walk across the United States, then our Simply Step things started, and it'll be fun. Like if we go to St. Louis, we have little stickers for that, and it's motivating when you wake up to know that you're going somewhere. So. And then once we make it to California, we will hit all the national parks, and then we can hit all the amusement parks, and we'll just keep going. So we'll see you next week.